What's the deal, y'all? This your boy King Eric the Great. You're now tuned in at another episode of Off the Cuff Radio. Coming to you live. I got my man T Max in the building.
What it do is Friday night flights on Off the Cuff. Well, we about to show the world why we got that stuff, man. You know what it do?
Yes, indeed, man. Another Friday night's in the mix. And we have a special guest lined up for us tonight, man. This guy here, he's been making his ranking left in the culture right now. He's a producer, rapper, songwriter, a jack of all trades, and looking to master them all. He produced for Bun B, Mozzy, Yella Beezy, Yella, and many more to come, as we encounter after this show. So let's bring on Kansas City on S.E. Trill. You on, brother?
Hey.
What up, what up? Hey, I'm from Wichita, Kansas, bro. Shout out to Kansas City, man. I fuck with Kansas City, but yeah.
Yes,
Wichita,
sir, man.
what it do,
we
man?
appreciate you joining us, man.
Already.
Yes, SC, what it be, man? The Trillers of the Trill, keeping it real, man. Great to have you on the show, man. And once again, we thank you for being a guest, man. What's going on, man?
Man, you know me, man, working hard, man. That's all in the day's work. I just work hard, bro. Studio to studio, city to city, man. Just trying to put on, man.
Definitely,
and
definitely.
Kansas City's doing their thing right now. Kansas City doing their thing right now because you see the Chiefs, they kicking butt out there in the NFL right now.
You keep saying Kansas City, bro, but I ain't from Kansas City. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, homie.
Yeah, like Wichita State, home of the Shockers.
Yeah,
you know
shoot.
There you go.
Well, you know, we got to give you the props anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, dang, you got to put some respect on my city name.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, man. Look, you're definitely from the dub, man, and you know, SC, you know, a lot of people are basically just known Kansas in terms of Rock Chalk Jayhawks and, of course, you know, the Kansas comic Gale Sayers, you know, but in terms of a hip-hop presence, you know, y'all really have, you know, it's pretty much kind of been a situation where y'all haven't necessarily at certain levels hit the national scene of being on the hip-hop level.
Ain't no real sound, like, I mean, besides what I've created in my city, we don't have a national sound, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the major things. I feel like I'm changed over the years. I feel like we didn't have a sound, but for the most part, like here recently, I've given my city a sound, you know?
Definitely. Now listening to a lot of your sounds, because you and me had chopped it up previously before you came on our show, which I'm so appreciative. I definitely, now Kansas City is more or less, you could say, the Midwest. So Midwest has primarily been known from, you know, Chicago, Illinois with Do or Die to St. Louis, Missouri with Nelly, you know, but I've noticed that your sound has a very soulful and grooved out, funky appeal to it, you know, that could pretty much, you know, at certain levels, you know, be classified as, you know, down in New Orleans, you know, and of course, you know, even Texas, you know, with a lot of that slow riding, you know, slab, you know, slinging in the caddies, candy paint type of thing, you know, it's got a lot of soul to it, man, you know, heavy bass lines, you know, how did you, you know, and basically, of course, in any area, you know, when you know, for anybody who really knows hip-hop, you're dealing with it from a level like the East Coast has always been known for the hardcore street sounds, you know, especially the early inceptions of hip-hop, especially with scratching. You know, Miami has always been known for the 808 with the bass. You know, California has been known for just that straight-up, you know, open-air type of, you know, synthesizer. And then, of course, the Bay Area with a lot of heavy 808 and, of course, heavy instrumentals as well. And it seems like, to a degree, with your sound, you've taken more of a very soulful approach that, like I said, could be more down south. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when you're dealing with your area and building the music up, it's about getting a sound that's signature for your area. And how did you go about, from that blueprint, that sonic blueprint of building your template for what the soundtrack for your city, especially coming out of Wichita, would be?
Well, I mean, seeing as we in the middle of the map, we get everything. We get East Coast, West Coast, we get down south. You know, we get everything. You know, so I just took what I grew up around, and I poured it out in the music. Like my father, he plays piano in church and stuff. So, like I always grew up around soulful music, church music and stuff. I played the drums,
Right.
of course, so I had a real sense of rhythm and sequencing. And it's like, as I grew older and I got into hip hop and started rapping, and I started to understand like what a beat is, what an instrumental is, and that I could make my own. Like I simply just melted pot everything. I just melted potted everything. I put everything all in one pot. Every idea is like it has a little bit of everything in it if you listen to it. I mean, I might make a beat that I might make a record that sounds like an EDM record that almost sounds trap. I might make something that sounds straight like it should be on Fred Hammond's album. You know what I'm saying? Like it just depends on. Literally, my sound depends on what artist I'm with. I mean, because essentially my sound is me. Anything S.E. Trill produces is Wichita. That's Wichita sound. You see that? You know, that's my city. So I mean, initially, it's not even really about what it sounds like. It's who's on it. You know what I mean? It's who created it. And since I created it, I feel like anything I touch is Wichita. You know what I mean? Whether it be the track I created for Yada, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be the track I did for Devin the Dude on his album, Acoustic Levitation. I did a track called Apartment 8216. That's a funky track. If you go listen to it, that's one of my funkiest tracks. That coming down with Bun B, that was super funky. But a lot of that was derived from just Midwestern music because we get everything.
Now, did you start off as a rapper or a producer first?
Yep.
Or you just
I started
decided
off
to
as
merge
a rapper,
both
bro.
all together?
I started off as a rapper. I started off writing first. You know what I'm saying? Like formulating my raps, and then my cousin brought me to my first studio. Rest in peace. He ain't living no more. Shout out to my nigga King KD, man.
Rest in peace.
I wish he was still living here. You know what I'm saying? But he introduced me to hip hop. Honestly, he stole me my first beat machine and took me to my first studio. So it was like after I knew what I sounded like on a mic and knew that I could do it, I was like, dang, how these dudes be getting these beats they be rapping on? That's when I got introduced to the DR5 old beat machine. And then he ended up giving me a TR-808, and like once I got that TR-808, it was on. Like I was making beats, and then I was like, yeah, I made my own beats, you know. And like it just progressed from there. Like it's crazy, man.
Well, definitely. And, you know, the thing about it is being a producer is you definitely have to have an ear for notations, you know, because there are 12, altogether in terms of music, there are 12 musical notations that you can bridge any way in terms of your arrangements that ultimately make the sounds. So it's always about trying to arrange those in a fashion that is really going to be conducive. Now, one thing about it is that, you know, and we talk on this show all the time about how there is a, you know, about how the glamour and the glitz of the industry is, but people don't understand how hard it really, really is to get in, especially coming from places, you know, where you come from, where it's not known for hip-hop. And for you to have the resume that you have had and still are accumulating, I mean, Devin the Dude and Bun B is enough as is. I mean, those are two certified legends in the game. You know, these are like the elder statesmen of not only Southern hip-hop, but hip-hop in general. If you could take our listeners through a walk of how a producer really, number one, gets, well, I guess really about how you are able to get in touch with those people and then designing the beats to accommodate their style. You know, take us through with a walk.
For real, it be word of mouth. It don't be anything like it don't be me meeting them personally. I mean, in some cases, yeah. Like I met Mr. Fab almost 10 years ago through my guy Polo. Rest in peace.
Stand up.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mr. Fab is big bro. Shout out Dope Air. Shout out Oakland. You already know what it is. But I met Bro almost 10 years ago, and like literally, ever since he heard the first beat that I played for my phone, he was like, "Yeah,
right.
I'm fooling with you." And like I did a record for him that he picked out that I didn't even know he was gonna throw Bun B them on. But when he did, it was just like, wow, like this is super dope. Like I got Bun B, Slim Thug, Zero, Paul Wall, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them on one track. This is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I never expected it. Even with Mozzy, I never expected to do nothing with Mozzy. You know what I'm saying? It ain't what you do, it's who you know. It's truly that in this industry. It is not what you do, it's who you know. I know a lot of dope producers here in my city that don't know the right people, so they can't get the right step in the game. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think from that level, too, when you're talking about trying to get placements, in terms of because there's always what they call the sexy cities, because like I said, of course, Oakland, shout out to the Bay Area, up and down, Northern California, the 707, the 916, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got so many artists that are, of course, producers, you got like Droop E, E40's son, of course, you got Zaytoven, who you had told me actually started off, well, I think you did or somebody else had told me about this. Zaytoven actually started off in the Bay Area, and of course, before he got to it, but Atlanta was where he had really blown up. Of course,
right.
I mean, shucks, you got Drummer Boy. It's just so
Boy,
many.
Big Bro too. I work closely with Drummer Boy, man. That's my guy. That's Big Bro right
Drummer
there.
Boy
too,
Fresh,
man.
yes.
Yeah, Drummer Boy Fresh. Shout out to Drummer Boy Fresh. Yeah,
yes.
boy.
But it's something about, just really, people, I think a lot of times there's this artificial barrier that we put on places where we're not necessarily familiar on one aspect. And just because it may be somewhere some feel is deficient, it doesn't mean it's not proficient in another area. And listening to your sounds, man, you have really, really, really done something tremendous for your city and for your state, man, because it shows hip-hop is indeed, internationally, it's internationally global, of course, and it's domestically dope, too. It's just about finding those rare jewels, and for a lot of people, they really look at your work. I mean, especially with the way Mozzy is killing the game right now,
man,
and you got to do a song
now,
with.
boy, he got that street real rap raw on lock, man. He's speaking that is, man. They listen to him.
Yeah, man. And I mean, and of course with Yalda, shout out to Yalda, Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, of course, down with MMG. I mean, it's like you're getting with a lot of these artists that are already, already dope, and you're getting in on the ground floor with them, helping to further their movement. How does that feel, padding your stats as a producer in such a, panoramic fashion going all over? I mean, in terms of just being able to reach and knowing that you still, the best is still yet to come.
Right. With that specifically, man, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of up-and-coming artists who blew up, like Yella Beezy, for instance. When he was just Lil Yella, he used to come up to Wichita, nobody really knew who he was. I did some tracks for him on country rap tunes. I did the last track I did for him was Light Work, and I mean, I feel like that song kind of pushed him into the right path, to be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? Not to say it was the direct reason or cause, but I feel like I aided and assisted in the transformation of this artistry to become a better artist, to be able to get the song. That's on me, baby. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Yella Beezy. Like I said,
right.
I walked within a long way too, man. I walked the PMG, Low Deezy audio, man. Like I said, it's just catching the right artists on the way up. Not everybody that you deal with is gonna blow, or you're not gonna get a platinum record off of every artist. I understand that, but I understand too that if you have a dope artist, you have a better chance of being able to break that barrier. Like for instance, Up. I feel like Up will hit the billboards real soon, You know what I'm saying? And that'll be my first track I ever produced to ever hit the billboards. You know what I mean? If that happens, I'm hopeful. You know what I'm saying? But it feels great to be able to just catch them on an up and coming, you know, and being able to aid assist in their career, man. It really feels good knowing that. I mean, we don't get that kind of opportunity in my city, man. We don't get people to say, oh, man, you a dope producer, or you a dope singer, or you a dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get that. All we get is people that come through here on their little promo tours, and they charge other artists $100 to come perform. Like, I didn't have to do none of that. I
they get those clubs up heavy. They'll charge you like, what, 50, 60 stacks per promoter?
More so, like, I mean, I got to witness all that, but I got to bypass all that, too, by just my pure work ethic, you know, just the fact that I love to work. I'm studio. In between being a dad, you know what I'm saying, I'm strictly work. Ain't no play. I don't go to strip clubs. I don't go to the club. I don't, all the fun stuff that people like to do, I sacrifice and give up because I feel like this is my plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Like, I put my all into this music, and literally what I manifested was something bigger than what I ever thought it would be. And as I speak, it's becoming bigger. I feel like this is just the beginning of something that's going to peak to be something that I never even imagined. It might be bigger than what I even thought because literally I came from nothing. Nobody knew who an SB Trill was, to the fact that I got people on, you know, on a level of MMG, you know what I'm saying, reaching out like, hey, little bro, man, you dope, man, you know, let's do this, let's make this happen. You know, so I mean, like, it's a God-given blessing, to be honest, especially coming from Wichita, Kansas. It's a God-given blessing. Real.
Definitely.
Now, with you being behind the boards, and it's pretty much all hands on deck, and do you care to break down the difference between a producer and a beat maker?
Oh, yeah, gladly. See, a beat maker doesn't understand the dynamic of putting together a hit record. They're simply just making a beat. They're making.
Say that again. Say that again, because our audience needs to hear that. Say that again.
For real, a beat maker is somebody who does not know or does not understand how to make a hit record. See, the thing is, a hit record consists of three different things. Of course, the beat, the melody, and then how catchy the hook is. Now, the only way an artist can get a good hook is to get a catchy beat. A lot of these beat makers make a beat, and it be too much in the beat, or it just be overbearing. It's not sequenced right. It's not mixed right. It's not. They didn't go the extra mile to actually produce the record. They didn't put no thought process in it. You understand? So a producer is gonna go into the studio with you. They're going to be hands-on, handcraft your beat for you. You know, it's going to be critiqued just for the artist. He's going to be right there the whole time during the whole process, and it's going to get pushed as such. It's going to be, I'm going to break it down to you like this. A beat maker going to get paid $50 for that beat. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get paid $50, $25, $50. A producer is going to have his paperwork right and get far more on the back end and up front.
Right.
A lot of these beat makers don't have a BMI. They don't even understand what ASCAP is. They don't understand.
And for those
that, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I was going to say for our listeners out there, you have for what SC is talking about, your BMI, your ASCAP, that is your publishing. That ensures your royalties. You have to have your paperwork to make the paperwork.
No ifs, ands, or buts. You have to. If you plan on getting paid, I mean, because for real, I done heard stories about producers and beat makers who would get a hit record, but because they paperwork wasn't right, they got messed out a whole bunch of money, and now they sitting back while this other person made $1 million hit. They only got kibbles and bits. They got the little $200 up front, and that was it. You got paid off. You didn't make them sign no contract saying that, okay, this is an exclusive beat I'm selling you, but I get this percentage on the back end no matter what.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's all your residual. Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand they have rights. Like, Yeah, you could sell a non-exclusive beat. You could sell an exclusive, non-exclusive beat that it's their beat. You can't resell it, but you're gonna also get paid off of that song every time that record gets spun. And I believe right now on the streams, it's like 1,500 streams equals an album. And and I think the standard point for a producer is either three or 4 points, whatever the case. A lot of these beat makers don't know that. So, like, even in my city, when I sit down with other producers and collide with them, I explain to them, like, hey, man, you got your BMI? Oh, what's BMI? Hey, go to BMI.com. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Do your publishing. That way you got a publishing company, and you can funnel your residuals, through your publishing company. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What's a publishing company? Well, let me explain to you what a publishing company is. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are essential tools for a producer that they need to know in order to, I'll say a beat maker in order to graduate to a producer. You know what I mean?
Now, SC, there are two things that you touched on specifically that definitely we want to expand on more. When you said about how a producer basically builds the beat from the ground up in terms of catering it to the artist and making sure that everything is streamlined in accordance for them, I thought of DJ Mustard right off the top in terms of how he's formulated his tracks, for YG, and of course with LMI, we're doing Booed Up, and of course with Rihanna, when she did You Needed Me, it's like he knew exactly the sonic sensibilities in terms of, and what you said, the chorus is, you got a dope track, but you got to have the chorus that identifies with the track specifically. It's that amalgam that ultimately brings about a hit. And you could even say, to some
Dr.
level,
Dre.
even with Puff Daddy. Yeah, Dr. Dre. You can say that with Puff Daddy. In terms of how Puff Daddy will, all of them, because, Well, go ahead, King. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I was going to say with Dre, because a lot of people, and this has been like a discussion throughout Dre's career, like, well, Dre doesn't really produce and this, that, and the third. But you ask these guys on the flip side, where's their version of the Chronic if they produce the track?
Right. Right.
You ask, where's Daz's version of the Chronic? Where's Warren G's version of the Chronic? It all comes from the ear, because Dre has a masterful ear. Like,
yes, he does.
Everybody can give him beats, but he can add certain sinisters to certain songs to make it. He can add a sample here, a guitar riff there. That's what a producer does to me. Like, he's the Einstein behind the lab.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, it's a really orchestral type of thing. It's something that's orchestrated versus something that's just made. I mean, essentially, when I go into the studio, man, the beat is already made up in my mind. But once I actually get my hands on a record and they get to recording, and I go add a piano, like, oh, I think a piano should be right here, or I think a bass should be right here, or I think a live guitar should be right here. Like, that's being a producer, being hands-on, critiquing things, saying, oh, man, no, that shouldn't be like that, and I think we should change that. Everything going to be perfect. In the producer's eyes, we're perfectionists, so nothing's ever perfect. You're always going to have another level of critique to go against. You know what I mean? And that's within our own selves in the producer community. They understand what I'm talking about. I heard Dre even speak on it. Dr. Dre is a perfectionist. And I feel like, people compare me to Dr. Dre here all the time, like, you the Dr. Dre of Wichita. And I feel like that because I'm a perfectionist. I won't settle for just an okay record. If it's an okay record, I'll scrap it. And they be looking at me like, that was perfectly good. No, it wasn't. It could be better.
Look,
now, I read a story, too, about Dre that he had an artist literally sit in the studio and to do one bar 3,000 times.
You know what?
Just
I don't blame
get one line right.
Same thing. I've done the same thing. Matter of fact, on my computer, I got this song that I did with this artist named Cray LaShawn, dope artist. He's singing here in Wichita. Y'all look him up. His album is out. It's called Start Over, Cray LaShawn, CRAYLASHON. But I had this man sit in the studio literally all day and night. I'm talking about from like 8 o'clock a.m. and then we left like 12 o'clock that next morning on one song because I didn't.
Damn.
I couldn't. I couldn't settle for just, hey, run. Every run had to be perfect. Every melody had to be perfect. Every double had to be dubbed just right. Everything had to be just right. It couldn't be anything that, I just put together. No, it had to be just perfect, in my eyes. For at least for what I worked with. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in $1 million studio at the time, but for what I had, I made it sound as if I was in $1 million studio, and that's what a producer does. A producer can make it happen with a bare minimum.
You went out for a set, dog. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
All right. Yeah, my bad. All right, I don't know. Maybe it's the area I'm in, but
go ahead.
Literally, man, a producer is a perfectionist. Straight up. They just won't settle for just any Joe Schmo record, and that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying? Speaking from a personal experience of working with different artists and making them like we do it. I done have some artists like, man, you gonna make me do this? Yeah, you got to. Come on, get that done. You want to hit record? That's what it boiled down to. Does an artist want to hit record? Because a producer is just a part of the game. We just one half. The other half got to be the creativity of the artist too. The beat just it starts the creative process.
Definitely.
It's like it's
all
in your head.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was all in your head because you could even take it back to Straight Outta Compton where he had Easy in the studio, even though he pinched it in one line, like he was doing one take every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you would think it sounded like a perfectly crafted song at the end.
Right.
And you wouldn't think that all those takes was just broken up because you really listen to it now. You could really eventually hear it and see it because they told the story. But you would think back then he would just rap.
They did it all in one take.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and essentially that's what it's all about. That's why a perfectionist producer like that is always going to make a hit record because it's going to seem seamless, and that's how a record should be. It should flow. It should be seamless. It shouldn't be just crap. I done heard some crappy music get put out, man, from some artists with dough. Like, damn, they put that out for real? Like that for real? You sure? What studio they record that at? They record that in somebody's bedroom, but it depends on who you dealing with, for real.
Well, the funny thing about it, SC, is go. Did you want to go ahead, King?
Oh no, you good.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about it though is when you take us through that soliloquy of selecting the proper sounds, SC, what you're explaining is the nuance that a lot of people miss in the game, and we're going to later on, of course, in a conversation, we're going to get your feelings on where the game is right now in terms of a lot of these artists coming in who have not perfected the craft. Hell, we might even jump into this shit right now. When you're talking about, I hear the passion in your voice, I hear the panache, I hear the genuine authenticity, I hear the drive and the motivation to create a masterful creation. And a lot of artists don't understand the work in the studio that it takes in terms of practicing your cadence, your harmony, your rhythms, your ad-libs. Like you said, when I think about, even though Puffy gets a lot of grief, and a lot of it is deserved, Puffy, during the height of Bad Boy, he knew how to put together the hits. And there was one element that I didn't hear you say, not because it wasn't important, but you said it was about where to place the instruments. Not necessarily knowing how to play them, but where to place them because you have the melody in your head. And Puff,
right.
Because where Dr. Dre is a consummate musician because he self-taught himself those ears, Puffy, had an unbelievable knack of knowing the harmonies and the rhythms of being able to understand what was going to make the people move. Just like with Irv Gotti, with Murder Inc. during the time that they were running. Ja Rule gets a lot of grief, for now, especially after the battle with him at 50. But nobody can deny that for Ashanti, Ja, that
Man, this is hits
Murderers
that came
album.
out of Murder Inc. It was some hits that came out of Murder Inc. Can't nobody deny
Yes.
that, Murder Inc. had hits. I mean, come on now. Even that, well, what I did without you, that was my shit. What you mean? I ran that back.
That still get played in the club now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know they may get flack about it, but, I mean, it's truth to it. I mean, the sequencing is a major part.
Yeah, I was saying Ja was that dude, man.
Man, he was. It's sad, with him and 50 going through, but it's casualties of war all the time. But furthermore, I mean, I feel like it is about sequencing and knowing how to sequence, and especially knowing what the people like, because essentially that's what makes a hit record, a record that the people like. If the people don't like it, it ain't going to get streamed, it ain't going to get downloaded, it ain't going to get bought. So, I mean, once you out there, once you listen, I mean, not to cut that off, but that's the reason why a lot of people's songs get stolen. You get a lot of underground artists who are dope, and these major artists will know that they're not going to get the time of day because they don't have the media presence to push it the way they need to, and they'll take the song and boom, it's a hit. You know what I mean? Like, it happens all too often. So, I mean, like, knowing the right things, knowing the right situation, knowing the right opportunity, knowing the right instruments, all that, all in the one, that goes into a hit record. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. This is Off the Cuff Radio, Friday nights. King Eric and myself, our co-host Chinchilla, and of course, a lot of Sandman are here with us in spirit. Call number is 1-619-924-0703, sponsored by That Vinci Clothing. And we have Wichita's wonderfully super producer, ultimately tremendously talented S.E. Trill, keeping it real with us, giving us the academic spill on all things in the music industry and beyond. Now, S.E., in terms of, where the hip-hop game is today and where, all students, we're all, children of the nation in terms of this beautiful culture, where has the music gone wrong to a degree? Because you talked a lot about how, there's been a deficiency in terms of how the product, in terms of how the mixing, just how the arrangements haven't been. And you talked about how a lot of artists don't get that push. Now, on Off the Cuff Radio, of course, we never get into tabloid talk. We only talk about what's out there. And when you talk about how a lot of artists get jerked in terms of the ideas getting stolen, King, you know where I'm going to go with this. When Drake ripped off Rapping Forte's Players Club, when he ripped off that whole verse, and I was like, I'm like, Drake, how could you just rip off one of the Bay Area's greatest and not give props due to that man? I was like,
yeah, I mean,
give it. S.E., go ahead, man. Give us your take on just that in general about how stuff.
I mean, with that, I mean, protect yourself. It goes back to having your copyrights and all that. I mean, if you protect yourself, you would never ever run into that situation. Now, unfortunately, whoever he did take that from obviously wasn't protected enough to stop it. So, I mean, you know how the game goes.
I think Rapping Forte did get his money though for that. I think they did.
Oh yeah, he got about $100,000, I think.
If he did, then more power to him, and that's the way you handle it. I mean, shit, to me, if somebody like Drake took my shit, I'm gonna say he really loved my music, because I mean, to go out your way to come steal my music, like, hey, shit, I feel like I'm gonna get my money, but thank you, because I feel like you admire me that much to want to, use my shit. So thank you.
Wow. Now you had Dr. Dre taking your music and using it, you be like, wow, man, that's a compliment.
Yeah,
you know what?
Man.
To be honest, like I was just recently in the A, and for what it's worth, I got pulled into the music circuit really, really fast, and I was around, like Honorable C-No and all these major producers, and one thing I did notice is that with these producers in the music industry, they keep a close circuit and close knit. So I mean, essentially, like, if somebody get their stuff stolen, it's because they being careless in the studio, just letting anybody hear it, and you know,
right,
it was
right.
opportunistic, you know, producer in a position of power. And I've heard a lot of stories about producers in the position of power being opportunistic as far as, you know, taking others' material. So, I mean, that's why I even protect myself. Like, when I'm around other producers or, you know, other artists and stuff, if I'm not directly dealing with them, I won't just play my best beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll play some tracks if they want to hear it, but you want to get that fire, it's going to have to be a one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? It got to be one-on-one with the artist or whoever it is. Because, I mean, and nowadays it's so easy to broadcast your music. I see why music gets stole. I mean, for real, you just do a song that night and just upload it. Boom. No copyright, no paperwork on it. What do you expect is going to happen? You know what I mean? That's like me finding it. That's like me finding a name or a domain. You know what I'm saying? Or let's just stick with a name. That's like me finding a name and I use this name and everybody know me as this name, but because I ain't copyright and trademark the name, Whoop-de-Whoop know that I ain't did this, and he know that I don't understand what it is, so he go do it. And so now I try to use his name, and I get some papers from a lawyer like, hey, you got to quit using this name. It ain't yours. You like, yes, it is. But, see, you didn't know it was business behind that. A lot of these cats don't understand the business. It's 90% business and 10% music. That's the determining factor on if you're going to get played
what a Tribe Called Quest say on Check the Rhyme? Rule 4080, record labels are shady.
Man, okay, you get 360 so fast, and it make your head spin in 360. You be like, what? Who? What? How many albums? Huh? I got to do a whole nother album. Y'all didn't like the first one? Oh, man. And then you hear Whoop-de-Whoop with the same song that you just wrote, and it's a hit. You like, what? I done seen it way too many times. I done seen artists get shelved, get they stuff all the way stolen, rewritten, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens. It's a dirty game out here, man. Protect yourself.
Now, definitely. Now, in terms of the game, and obviously without dropping names, you know, we are, you know, our journalism credentials are based upon, you know, asking the real questions, but not, you know, real ratchet. What should artists know in terms of procuring, you know, because with the advent of YouTube, of course, Instagram, Facebook, you know, Twitter, we've seen such a proliferation of artists trying to get, you know, putting out their music. Now, you talked so you know, abundantly, you know, and expansively on the fact of protecting yourself in terms of just copyright. Now, I guess it could be the same tangent in terms of actually trying to secure a record deal for those artists that are actually trying to get a deal, because on the same hand, you have a lot of artists who are going independent. How have you seen a situation, you know, of course, not mentioning names, how have you seen the situations with artists going into getting deals? Because a producer deal is going to be different from an actual artist deal, because a producer, unless he actually, it's like, when I think of producer deals, I think about what happened with, you know, Manny Fresh and Cash Money, where he was the in-house producer, and from what I understand, from what I was told, he was getting like at his peak like $80,000 a track. And you got to remember during that late '90s when they all blew up, all those Cash Money albums, he basically did the beats for everything, and you're looking at least on a minimum 10 albums. So you figure 10 albums worth of work. And he did, and he was getting $80,000. Go ahead.
My uncle is Moby Dick of Beats by the Pound. That's my uncle.
Yeah,
that's
No Limit. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
KLC and all of them. Yeah.
I can go back to his. You know, situation. I feel like my uncle should be a quadruple million billionaire if you ask me, because I mean, Beats by the Pound was behind the direct success of No Limit.
Master P.
You know what I'm saying? From Gangsta 5, Mr. Ice Cream Man, all that. Like, Moby Dick had a hand in all that. And I feel like he should be balling like Master P. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The fact that you know, he didn't get that chance, and you know, he had to kind of fight for it. You know, man, you just never know, man. This industry it's ass backwards, man.
Well, you know,
I asked my uncle many times, like, man, like, why ain't you out here, you know, in Bentleys and balling and all that? And all he could say was, like, in due time, Neff, you know, some things happened that was beyond my control. He didn't elaborate further on it, and I didn't even want him to, but it just let me know. It let me know that the politics in music is very tricky. You know, deals is very tricky. You know, the politics behind it is real tricky. So literally, I mean, independency in this game is probably the best. It's probably the best situation you can put yourself into. Invest the money in your own company, get your own publishing, get your own, you know, LLC, all that. That way, you own your masters. Whoop de Whoop doesn't own your publishing and masters. You own your publishing and masters. You get that residual income. You know, Slim Thug was just speaking about that. Like, he don't owe no label heads. He gonna get he getting checks from 20 years ago. You feel me?
Yeah, because he's doing it independently. You know, and hold that thought because because you talked about the situation of, and much respect to your uncle, man, Moby Dick. You know, I still remember, you know, if I got it right, where he did that True song, Somebody's Watching Me, and he was singing the hook on it. You know,
man, all that, man.
Man, you know,
it's the ice cream,
and I remember that. Yeah, it's the ice cream, man. But the thing is, on a serious note, the Source did an interview, and I actually have the article. Like I said, we always use source material, no pun intended, on where we get our information. So This was years ago when Master P, you know, because this is the time where Master P was kind of going through that changeover in terms of, you know, kind of trying to. So they asked him about what happened with Beats by the Pound in terms of what happened. And he had said, I don't have beats by the pound. He's like, I'm going to be real. I feel like the sound was played out. And that's why he switched over to the Medicine Men, you know. And I thought that was kind of odd because I'm like, when you listen to.
I don't understand how you could feel that when that brought most of his hits.
Exactly.
All his hits.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm like, you know, when I heard Bout It, and that was like the first track from No Limit that I really heard that I was like, oh my God. I mean, because that just had that whole, because that's when Master P, you know, was really on his bass shit, because of course he went out to, you know, Richmond, California for a while, even though repping New Orleans, you know, he came, you know, he went to Richmond. That's where he opened up the No Limit record store. But when I heard Bout It, I was like, oh my God. It's like, that 808 kick behind it. I mean, the synthesizer, that synthesizer harmony. I was like, oh, this is fire.
Yeah, it was a different style. It was something ain't nobody ever heard before. And you like, woo,
yeah.
what?
And then he came. Look, he brought it into the hip hop lingo. Bout it.
That makes
them
say,
bout it.
Yeah. They came with that energy, man. Beats by the Pound had that energy. I don't care what nobody talking about.
Yes, they did.
Real,
they
did. And
it had that magic touch. All them albums had that magic touch, and then you could listen to the quality drop in '99. This is just me being observant as a fan, because I've been riding with the Tank since '95. The first joint I got was the Ghetto Trying to Kill Me when Pete had the chick riding him on the cover.
Yeah, dude said I'm down with a gun. Yeah.
So then it's like when '99, when Beats by the Pound left, you just tell that the quality within the releases had dropped, and they were just trying to copy every other sound that was out at the time. Like they tried to use the Cash Money sound with wobble wobble, shake it, shake it.
Yeah,
and
man.
It
for
just
real,
didn't pop.
In this music industry, like it goes back to what you said about like what's dropping today. Like everything, I feel like everything is recycled. You know, essentially when you're looking at hit records, I mean, a lot of hit records now are recycled or borrowed from something else. You know what I mean? I feel like that Beats by the Pound era was the last era of authentication. You know, as far as like authentically bringing that groove, that funk, that Louisiana sound to the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now I feel like everything is now borrowed from that time, you know.
Well, I mean, when you look at that time, you know, because there is, you know, and this is going back over 20 years with it, but when you're dealing with a lot of those artists that were considered South in terms of the region, you had 8-Ball and MJG during that time, you know, who started in 1993, you know, were coming out hard, you know, and of course, you know, there was always, as long as hip-hop, you know, has been around going into it, you know, of course, 88, well, actually 87 when the Ghetto Boys dropped their first record, you know, the one, and my memory's failing me right now, it's the one they dropped before Grip It with the Other Level, because that's when they had, you know, because Grip It was the album that kicked the door down for the Ghetto Boys. That was the one that was in 88 that really kicked the door down. But you figure they were coming from Texas. P started in 1990, you know, of course, you know, with, of course, Mama's Bad Boy, you know, the Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me. Then, of course, you had 8-Ball and MJG coming later with Suave House. Cash Money had started in 1990 as well, but they were still regional at that time. They didn't go national until 98. During the interim, you know, you still had a lot of Southern acts, you know, that were still coming in. Of course, Scarface, when he went solo, you know, Lil Jon back in 96 was a DJ in Atlanta, but this was like 5 years before 2001, before Lil Jon really blew up, you know, but it's like the South had always been there. It hadn't really risen to prominence until the early 2000s, you could even say the mid-2000s, but it was something where it was a real representation of, you know, of course we got to give shout out to Young Bleed, of course, you know, because he rolled with Master P and them at the time, you know, with How You Do That there, you know, off the I'm Bout It soundtrack, you know, so you saw a lot of these artists coming out that were really just giving their spin on the South, you know, on hip-hop from the South, because each region has their own interpretation of it. But like you said now, SC, we're dealing with a situation where the originality, the heart of it, just the innovation is lacking, you know, in terms of where a lot of these new artists are coming in today, where, like you said, they're just trying to do what everybody else is doing, following a formula, you know, but they're not formulating. They're following a formula.
Right.
You know, and I guess because people say hip-hop is dead, no, hip-hop is alive and well no matter where it's from. You know, hip-hop is alive and well with you. Yeah, where you're from, you know, in Wichita, you're rapping it. I mean, Nas, you know, with Nasir was a great album, even for all of Kanye's crazy-ass antics. I mean, Dave East and Styles P just dropped Beloved. It was, oh, my God.
You know what? Even my album is real, like, in-depth. I got an album out called Born a King. I dropped it 2016 on my birthday, March 9th. Y'all can go check it out. S.E. Trill, Born a King. But on my record, it's really like I rap about real life situations. It's really hip hoppy. It's really in depth. It's really soulful. I don't have a lot of twerking music and nothing like that. Like, I got some high energy tracks and records on there, but for the most part, the records that's on my album is real life. You know, make you sit down. You got to sit down and think. You know what I mean?
Right.
The real creativity behind it, man.
Now, do you think that's because of what hip-hop is? Because the inception of hip-hop was based on the expressions of the plight of the inner city of disenfranchised and marginalized minorities as Black and Latino. And as it became more of a business, do you think, you know, fast-forwarding 40 years later, from the last poets to now, even James Brown, if you want to take it back further, because some would even say James Brown was one of the original rappers in terms of, you know, really coming up with the rhythms and everything else and rhyming the words.
Hey,
you know,
hold on 1 second. We have a call, man. Special guest on the line. We got I think we got Fleetwood on the line.
Hey, Fleety, what it do?
What's going on, Playboy?
What's going on, man? How you?
Oh, man, I'm just chilling, man. I just tuned in, man. My nephew, Prince, Prince finna be on the show real soon, man. So I just had to tune in, man. I was listening to the brother speak. He was definitely shedding some light, on the dark situation. People be confused about hip hop and the emergence of the South. I just, was applauding what he was saying and feeling it. I wanted to ask you a question though, bro. Far as the South dominance, it's been like for almost 15 years, 20 years now. I remember when they kind of took over, right?
Like longer than that. The
Yeah.
South been dominating for a minute.
Right. So let me ask you this. What do you think is the key to the South, and do you think the emergence of mumbling rap would do any damage to the South continuing to have a stronghold on the game? So my first question is, what do you think was the key to the South being able to lock it down? And then my second question is, do you think the mumbling rap, which is it is what it is, do you think that'll take away and hurt the South's stronghold?
I feel like the South's main key stronghold in the game was the fact that the South had soulful music, man. Like, everything was more East Coast, sampled, more derived from an old school record. And the South came through with that, what do you call that music, man? It's like a specific type of music, like Trill, what is it called? Like, they do it in New Orleans, that live music. Like, everything came from that funk, that it was that rhythm, it was that funk. It was almost like, it was just a new sound, completely. It was a completely new sound that was introduced to the hip-hop game. You know what I mean? And it changed everything. Because, beats from then on, once the South came in the picture, beats changed. Everybody's different.
But you could even say Outkast with Organized Noise, and I need to have a dunce hat because I didn't recognize Outkast, because Outkast really opened the door up for it. I remember when Dre at the Source Awards, and they got booed at the time when they won, but Dre said the South got something to say.
Right. Right. I wanted to piggyback on that because
go ahead.
The sound definitely was a major element of the, in my opinion, the sound was a major element of the stronghold. But I think one of the other strongholds was the gathering of black youth on a constant basis, because from Washington D.C. is where black universities started with Howard. And they go all the way down to Texas. There's no black colleges past Texas. There ain't a black college in Chicago, California, New York, Detroit, nowhere like that. So what I'm saying was, black kids, they go to step shows. They go to the basketball game. They go to football game. They go into college together. So if you got a problem with somebody, you be done worked it out by time it's time to go to the concert. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my thing was, black people, black youth were always together. Now, in the other cities, you don't find black youth coming together that much. So when they come together, it's a problem. And I think that hurts the venues, and they don't want you in their venue in a lot of cities and stuff. It's hard to have major shows and major arenas, and the gathering of black youth don't happen all the time. It's a problem.
Man,
so I think the emergence of black colleges,
Let me piggyback on that. Like, even in my city, certain artists, they'll try to come here, and like the director of music here or the city be like, nah, they'll flag it. They won't let them come.
Yeah. Where you from? Where you from, sir?
Wichita, Kansas, middle of the map.
Oh, you from Wichita? Okay, Wichita. Okay, you down there in Kansas, all right, with Rich the Factor now. Okay, yeah. Well, that's love, fam. Yeah. I don't want to take up too much of y'all time.
No,
I
wait.
Appreciate your intellect.
Before you go, I'm gonna touch on this mumble rap too. This mumble rap,
okay.
Like, they have their own community, is what I found out. Like, it's not even that they messing up hip hop, because they not. Because essentially they got their own little following of people that like that type of music. Just like you got people who like the old school music, people who like 90s records, who don't get down with none of the 2000s records. Like, I talk to my mom, like, Mama, you remember that song, Wankster? She, I don't listen to that crap. I like SWV.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, shoot, I feel like it's enough room for all of it. I mean, you just got to...
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, it's enough room for everybody to have their own style and their own lane. That's what it's all about, being creative. And if mumble rap is going to be a way somebody get that check and chase that bag and it works, by all means, mumble your way to $1 million.
Hey, man, I totally agree with that. And what I just like to say about that and a little bit, and I'm off of this thing, is I remember when hip-hop started, I'm an OG. The first song I ever heard was King Tim III by Fatback. The second was Curtis Blow. And I remember they said it wasn't even going to last. So I remember how the sound of hip-hop has changed from Boogie Down Productions. I remember Ron DMC used to rap over rock and roll because it wasn't. I remember the sound of it was completely different. You feel me? So anytime anything grow, it's gonna change. When a flower grow, it changes, it develops. So this is just a change of hip hop. You feel what I'm saying? But I applaud anybody that can feed their family, you know what I'm saying, and get themselves in a better position. My hope is that these youngsters, they're getting a lot of money now. If they build a youth center or do something for the brothers and sisters coming back home from the penitentiary or something, give back to their community. That's my only hope. If they get around, if they educate themselves and get around Master P and Jermaine Dupri and the people who have, anybody can get money, but to keep money is a wise man. A fool don't keep no money. So all I'm saying is to have longevity in the game is a sign of excellence. You know what I'm saying? So that's my hope, that the ones that's out here getting all this money and stuff, is that they maintain themselves 10 years from now and they still relevant and they give something back to the community. And far-wise, they mumbling part, I'm a lyricist. All it does is, you know, when it's darkness, that make room for light. So all that does is just, you know, allow people who appreciate lyrics to go and seek out artists who are lyrical. That's my take on it, man. And I ain't gonna talk y'all to death, man. Y'all be good, man. And
you know you always
y'all
welcome,
check out
man.
Prince Williams, man. He coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him on shortly. And we about to wrap this part of the interview up, this first hour. And before we wrap this up, do you have any shout outs you want to give or any advice you want to give to the young artists that's listening to this?
I want to shout out Global Hustle, man. It's a global hustle, not a local hustle. Shout out to my dude Crim Della, that's my label mate. He just dropped the record. He just dropped the EP produced by Scott Storch. Y'all go get that. He just dropped Personal. Now that's out. The video out. Crim Della, Personal. Follow us at Global Hustle. Follow me on Instagram at The Real SE Trill. Man, major love. I want everybody to keep doing their thing. Stay positive. Keep positive vibes around you. Any negativity, kill it. You ain't even need it. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, fam, you make sure you check me out, man. It's Fleetwood, man. I'm an OG. I got a few connections for you. You seem to be doing some real shit in a real way. I'm on the ground, Fleetwood SF. E got my direct contact, man. You understand me? I would definitely like to holler at you a little later and do anything I can to support you, man, for real.
Man, let's make it happen. Let's connect these dots and make these numbers rise. You feel me?
We want to.
Let's bridge the
gap.
And
thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for even taking time to even have me on y'all show. Man, I hope that, you know, anything that I spit tonight was gainful and knowledgeable to everybody and people learn from it, you know, and up-and-coming producers learn to protect themselves and understand this business before they jump in and sign anything. You know what I mean?
Dude, we got to have you back on for part 2, man, because there's so much more we got to cover, man, in terms of, this was a symposium of scholastic proportions about properly conducting your business appropriately, man. I don't think we can thank you enough for what the gems you've given us. You know, and we definitely want you back on the show to drop more of those jewels for us, man.
Man, for sure. And I can't wait to be back on the show.
Thank you so much.
Who knows, man? We could try to probably bring Moby Dick up there, because we know he got some stories.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, for sure. I can make that happen too, man. Like I said, that's my uncle, man. We can make that happen immediately.
Word
For
up.
real. I'm gonna hit you after the show, and we could probably get that going on. We could get a date set.
Yep, and I'll tell him as soon as we get out this. I'm gonna call him and let him know. You know what I'm saying? Give him a heads up. He gonna be down with it. You know, I'm pretty sure he's gonna hear his story too. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's what it do, man. We appreciate you joining us, bro. I'm gonna definitely hit you up
All
after
right,
the
man.
show.
Major love, man. Major love.
Look, keep throwing it up for the dub and the K, man.
Hey, all day, every day.